So, good morning, everyone. I want to share a testimony about one of my most painful, but also the most transformative season of my life. And how God remained faithful even when I made choices that slowly pulled me away from His will. Ito lang yung tissue ko. Nasa yung box. Okay, so but before I share the deeper parts of my testimony, I would like to give a little background about my life. Like most people, Ano ba yan? Okay. Like most people, I've had relationships before. I had boyfriends before, relationships that I thought were normal and just part of growing up and learning about love. I wasn't perfect, and like many young people, I went through seasons of trying to understand what love really meant and where I truly belonged. But, so there's a but. But there came a time in my life when things became different. There was a season when I entered into a same sex relationship. So I had a girlfriend. At that time, I thought I had finally found everything I was looking for in my past relationships. I saw in her the qualities I admired. She was a business minded, had clear goals in life, and was very driven, just as I am. So she's a teacher, a law student, and a businesswoman. I think that was where I became blinded. I believed that as long as I was happy, everything would be okay. So I followed my feelings, thinking that it was enough to guide my decisions. And do you know what made me believe even more that the relationship was right? She's also a Christian. So I thought, this must be it. I believe that since we share the same views in life and the same faith, everything would work out. So during the first week, everything felt perfect. It felt like everything was falling into place. But after about a month, that's when things slowly became toxic. The relationship became emotionally and mentally draining. There were behaviors that were hurtful and controlling, but I ignored them. Because when you love someone deeply, sometimes you don't see the red flags anymore. I kept telling myself that it was okay. I am a patient person, I am a loving person. So I kept giving chances. I kept understanding. I kept forgiving. But you know what the most painful realization for me was? I was able to give everything my girlfriend wanted, but I couldn't give back enough to my parents. So even though I was working 3 jobs and earning a decent amount, I was always financially short. I kept prioritizing her needs and the relationship, while the people who truly loved me, my parents, were the ones I couldn't fully support the way I wanted to. And that realization just broke my heart. So for 3 years, so we lasted for 3 years, I stayed in that relationship. It was emotionally and mentally abusive. I gave and gave until I felt completely drained. It was such a roller coaster season in my life because I tried to leave the relationship many times because I was already tired and broken. I wanted to walk away, but I couldn't. I felt stuck in my situation. And deep inside, I also felt that maybe I deserve to be in that situation. That maybe this pain was something I had to carry. So the guilt starts to sink in. And there were many eyes on me. Sadly, some filled with judgment and condemnation. But instead of focusing on those voices, I made a decision to fix my eyes on the Lord. Even my faith felt weak and my heart felt confused. I chose to hold on to Him. Why? Because even when I felt undeserving, God continued to pursue me with His love and grace. Through the pain, the silence, and the waiting, God was slowly restoring my heart and reminding me that my failure was not the end of my story. He even kept sending people into my life. I am thankful for my spiritual friends who didn't give up on me, who kept praying for me, encouraging me, and reminding me of God's truth even when I struggled to believe it myself. Then came the turning point. I finally found the courage to break up with her. That decision was one of the hardest things I had ever done, but it was also the beginning of my freedom. And what amazes me the most is what happened after that. After I let go of that relationship, that's when the blessings started to pour in. God began opening doors that I never expected. I received an invitation for my permanent residency, and thank you. And invitation pa lang. We're getting there. And I was blessed with an increase in my salary as well. So slowly, I began to heal. I started becoming soft again. The heaviness I used to carry slowly lifted. People around me began to notice the difference. They would tell me that they could see the light and glow returning to my face. So that's when I realized that God was truly restoring me from the inside out. And as I close, I just want to say that my story is not about my failures, but about God's faithfulness. There was a time when I thought my mistakes had already disqualified me, when I believed that I had lost my place in ministry and in God's plan. Being removed from ministry was one of the greatest heartbreaks in my life. Such a humbling experience. But now I see that even in that season of brokenness, God was still writing my story. So today, I stand before you as a living testimony of God's love and restoration. From being removed, God restored me. From feeling unworthy, God reminded me of His grace. And now I am grateful and honored to serve Him again through the tech team and to be part of facilitating the youth retreat again. And just like what is written in Joel 2, verse 25, it says there, I will restore to you the years that the locust has eaten. So this verse reminds me that nothing is wasted in God's hands and that He is able to restore what was once broken. And if there's one thing I want you to remember from my story, it is this. No failure is too big for God's grace, and no one is ever too far for God to restore. So this is my testimony, and all glory and all our honor belong to God.